Are you wanting to try and save a little bit of money on your aircraft insurance by just having physical damage coverage for your aircraft while it is on the ground and when you turn on the engine and taxi it, but also still want to have liability so that you can legally fly your aircraft in Canada? Well, it's Caleb here from Air 101 and we're going to talk about it. If this is the case, then what you're looking for is all risks not in motion, including taxi coverage, as well as in-flight liability coverage. But what does that really mean? Well, I'm going to answer that in a second, but also if you stay to the end of this video, you will find out why it is so important that you know what this coverage is and how it can majorly protect you in the event of a claim. This coverage consists of two major components. Number one, physical damage coverage for your aircraft. I want to read what one insurance company says about this type of coverage in their policy wording. Ground and taxiing risks. We will pay for accidental physical loss or damage to the aircraft occurring while the aircraft is on the ground or while it is in motion taxiing. We will not pay for any loss or damage occurring while the aircraft is in flight. So what this policy means is it will give you physical damage coverage for the aircraft while it is on the ground and the engine is off. But in this case, it will also give you physical damage coverage for the aircraft when you turn on the engine and you want to taxi your aircraft around the airport. This makes sense, but you might wonder then, when does the physical damage coverage for the aircraft actually stop? Well, in order to answer that, we need to look at what this insurance company's definition is for in-flight. It says the aircraft is in flight from the time when the aircraft is moving in an attempt to take off until the time when the aircraft has completed its landing roll. So basically, the moment you enter the runway and attempt to take off, and until you landed the aircraft on the landing roll and have left the runway and entered the taxiway, you will have no physical damage coverage for your aircraft. Please note, of course, this
varies from insurance company to insurance company, and if a claim is to be paid out, that will be up to the insurance company and their policy wordings and definitions.
Now, after knowing the definition for in-flight and ground and taxi risk, we can see that it's pretty straightforward. The easiest way to understand it is to think about it this way. If you were taxiing to the runway and hit a pothole and had a prop strike, and if you bought this type of coverage, technically you would still have physical damage coverage for your aircraft. But if you're about to take off and you're on the takeoff roll and had a bird strike, then because you are now in the in-flight definition of the policy wording, then technically you would have no physical damage coverage for your aircraft and your loss would most likely not be covered in this situation. Number two, in-flight liability coverage. This will give you third-party liability so that you can legally fly your aircraft in Canada and meet Transport Canada's regulations, as well as in most cases, you will also get passenger liability coverage as well. If you want to know more about in-flight liability coverages as well as passenger liability coverage, then you should watch this video right here. Now, by this point, I hope that you understand what all risks not in motion, including taxi coverage, as well as in-flight liability coverage is, and I'm happy that you made it to this point of this video. You're awesome, and thanks for sticking around, and I hope that you give this video a big thumbs up. But here is why it's so important that you know this type of coverage. Many people end up buying all risks not in motion, not including taxi coverage. Pilots usually don't understand that the moment they turn on the engine, there is no physical damage coverage for the aircraft. And you know, as an aircraft owner, quite often you should be turning on your aircraft engine and letting it run for a little bit to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And you may even need to taxi your aircraft around the airport. Now, here's the thing. Over the years, I have heard of lots of losses that have just happened when somebody turned on their aircraft engine or when they're trying to taxi their aircraft around the airport. For example, I've heard of people turning on their aircraft engine like a Piper PA-18 Super Cub, and then right after the engine starts, the aircraft gets away from them and taxis right into a building. I've heard of people taxiing into potholes, as well as individuals having a prop strike when they hit a cement block that was near the taxiway at an airport. Now, if you didn't buy all risks not in motion, including taxi coverage, then in all these instances, if you tried to put in a claim, most likely it would not be covered. That is why if you plan on still doing run-ups and taxi around the airport, you should buy all risks not in motion, including taxi coverage. And to be honest, the premium is not much more than just all risks not in motion, not including taxi coverage. But if you really want the best coverage for your aircraft, you should watch this video right here. I hope that you learned something today. Have fun taxiing your aircraft around the airport, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.